What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to MLW Rewind. I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay. And as you know, I never do this alone. I only do this with one PIC, and that is the real Uncle Bobby B. Hey, Bobby.
What's happening?
Good, you?
I'm all right.
Yeah, 10-4. 10-4.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. I'm still doing truck terms for my shoot job. 10-4. Come on home. Bring it in. Oh,
Do you
brutal.
actually say 10-4 on the
All the
job?
time. On the radio, Radio comes on. Driver's like, George, I'm clear. 10-4. Bring it home.
10-8, you got a 10-2
You got a 10-8, 10-2. Yeah. Got a 187.
on an undercover cop?
On an undercover cop. Bam! All right. Well, tonight's episode of MLW Underground is a wild one. That's for sure. I mean, a lot of stuff happened. We finally had a big reveal, but we'll get into that as chronological order of the show goes. Now, it starts off with we got a big match right off the hop. Usually for our opening matches, it's not really a big match, but this one felt like main event. It had a main event feel to it. That's right. We had Lio Rush, the bad child, Lio Rush, taking on Jacob Fatu. And we also had a surprise guest on commentary. Rob, who was that guest?
Oh, that was Hammer, your boy Hammer.
Your boy Hammer came out and he wanted to keep his eyes on this match. Had some great lines on commentary, man. I don't think I've ever said that. He had some great one-liners, man. Like he said a lot of stuff. One cool line he said was, Hammer at 75% is still better than most of the guys in the locker room at 100%. I was like, damn, Hammer, you just spitting fire. Oh, it was great. Hammer on commentary was great. Now this match lived up to all the hype that Rob was feeling. I was not hyped up about this match whatsoever, but they proved me wrong, as I knew they would. I knew they would, but I was just, I have my opinion.
Forgetting the opinions about the coming and going and whatever. If you just look at it objectively, the context of the match, that was a great fucking match.
Oh, it was. It absolutely was. Lio Rush right out the gate attacked Jacob Fatu, which is smart. Bell didn't ring, got a couple shots
used his speed.
Used his speed, and he kept Fatu at a distance for the most part. But eventually, Fatu did close in the gap, and that double Samoan drop was dangerous, man.
Oh, the alley-oops.
Oh, the double alley-oops, whatever they called it. I just called it double Samoan drop, but man, he knocked Lio Rush out of his socks. And Lio Rush got a couple close falls on him too. Actually, for a second there, I thought they were going to give the win to Lio. I really did. But Jacob, as always, he hits that springboard moonsault for the 1, the 2, then the 3. But it was a great match, great return to MLW Underground for Lio Rush. And dare I say, it was a strong start. So you knew with a match like that, this was going to be a fiery episode. Would you not agree?
Yeah. I mean, they certainly set the tone off pretty hot with that match. It was enjoyable. Like, Lio was the smaller guy, Jacob's the bigger guy. So Lio was using his speed, and right off the bat, he was just running away, like hitting all the four sides of the ropes. I enjoyed it. I thought these guys put on a fun match. Great way to start it off, and yeah, it really set the tone for the rest of the episode.
Absolutely. Well, right after this, we got even more heat. We got even more exchanging of words, if you will, because Fatu grabbed the mic and he just called Hammer out, and he's like, you know what? Why don't you come on down here? And we didn't hear what was said in the ring, but there was an exchanging of words that looked pretty heated. And Hammer at one point had his hands up like this, and he was like, all right, just calm down. Now Jacob turned to the side, and as soon as he turned to the side, what happened. I knew exactly what was going to happen. He hit him with a forearm. Then Hammer brought one in, and before you know it, they were just coming. They were exchanging shots. It was a brawl, middle of the ring. Security force cleared out. All the VPs in the back, they cleared out. Everybody cleared out. And these guys broke through the security barriers a couple times. And I'm talking about human being barriers. They separated them to each side of the ring. And Hammer broke out a couple times. Fatu broke out a couple times. Eventually, they rolled out separate sides of the ring. And it ended with Fatu throwing a chair across the ring at Hammer and then getting escorted to the back. But all in all, this was a great, this was all within the first 15 minutes of this episode. Match, Hammer on commentary, Hammer and Fatu coming to blows. And that match is officially 2 weeks away. We are literally 2 weeks away after tonight. 2 more episodes of MLW Underground. And then Fatu versus Hammer Part 2 is going to happen. It absolutely is going to happen. But all in all, what did you think of this sequence, Rob, leading up to Fatu Hammer 2?
I think without giving too much away, the focus of this episode was really building up that Hammer Fatu rematch. This was a cool way of getting more interaction between them, and they had them brawl right through to the break. So like you said, it was shows that there's still a lot of animosity. I think there's some mutual respect
Yeah, I was going to
because
say that.
I don't think, yeah, there is a mutual respect, but there's also an intense rivalry.
Mhm.
I think you can look at these two as each other's arch nemesis in MLW. So this match is got more of a big fight feel to it now because there's that, that personal, I respect you, but I still want to kick the shit out of you.
Exactly. That's probably a Jacob Fatu quotable if you were to ask him. If TMZ were to catch him on the street, I respect Hammer, but I'd beat the fuck out of him. That's what's gonna happen. That's a Jacob Fatu
That's how
quotable
it
right
seems to
there.
me.
Absolutely. I agree. I 100% agree. And we also got we got some promo action happening this episode. That's right. Sam Adonis. He's on the promo tape this time around, and he's introing Cesar Durant. Yes, they brought Sam Adonis in to intro Cesar Durant into a promo who introduces the gold standard, if you will, the fact that Azteca Underground is now dripping in gold. And if that didn't give it away, he welcomes Taya Valkyrie and her better half, John Morrison. And they're dripping in gold.
John Drip Trip.
John Drip Drip. That's right. That's why I said drip drip. That's right. They're dripping in gold. And John wasn't feeling well, though, Rob. He wasn't feeling great. He needed a doctor. And Cesar Durant said, well, you know what? Davey Richards is a doctor. And John Morrison said, well, you know what? You better call him. And then he whips off the jacket because these pythons are sick. I died. I died. I know it was corny as fuck, but I did pop. I thought it was. What did you think about the fact that Johnny Morrison's pythons, or sorry, Johnny Fusion, my apologies. Johnny Fusion's pythons are sick.
Yeah, you should definitely see a doctor about that. Sick pythons, not something to mess around with. No, it was a funny little skit there with Johnny. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I dug it.
I enjoyed the shit out of it. And Taya and CD, they really sold it well. They're both very concerned on their faces, and he's keeling over. I thought he was going to yak. And then the jacket just comes off, and these pythons are sick. So good. So good. I can't, I don't have pythons like him, but that's pretty much the pose that he did. It was kind of like one of these.
No.
Like, I don't have the pythons that he does. I'm aware of it. You don't have to tell me. I'm aware of it, Rob. I'm aware. All right. Then we have another big fight feel match. This episode had a lot of big fight feels. This one was just as big as our opener. That's right, the Bumaye Fight Club. Myron Reed, Mr. Thomas, taking on the Billington Bulldogs. This match was really good. We also had Alex Kane on commentary. And Alex Kane also great for some sound bites. He wants to grind up the Bulldogs and Harry Smith. And he wants to grind them up and put their ashes in the cup. He wants to destroy their family legacy. Alex Kane did not hold back in any way, shape, or form. At one point, the Billington Bulldogs, they were on a roll. They had Bumaye Fight Club kind of tucking their tails, getting ready to run. And just as they were going to go, put the final nail in the coffin, Alex Kane got involved. But for not too long, because Harry Smith came out, was a great equalizer. He got rid of Kane for the moment, kind of off to the side. The Billington Bulldogs got a sweet drop kick. And then, I'm not sure.
London.
Sorry?
The Tower of London.
The Tower of London, thank you. And then they set up the original drop kick on Mr. Thomas. Then they got him center of the ring. They rocked up for the Tower of London and hit him 1, 2, 3. And I thought it was quite fitting to pin Mr. Thomas. Because Alex now, the way they designed this match, Alex is kind of on the run. Now the Billington Bulldogs got the one up on Bumaye Fight Club. Myron still looks strong in his final tapings because he didn't get pinned. And Mr. Thomas looks like the guy who got schooled by 2 young up-and-comers. So all in all, I thought the way they designed it, the players who were meant to look strong at Bumaye, not taking anything away from Mr. Thomas, but the players who were meant to look strong. The Bulldogs and Harry Smith look strong, standing tall in the center of the ring, and the Bumaye Fight Club kind of scurrying to the back. All in all, I thought the way this match was designed and the story that was told was a perfect setup for what will now be official, Alex Kane versus Harry Smith for the Opera Cup. Not in the Opera Cup tournament, for the Opera Cup to get it back to the tournament. This is happening in a few weeks. So, Rob, what's your takeaway on this one?
Yeah, like you said, I liked how it was booked. Nobody really looked bad. I mean, there was the interference, there was all that stuff. Billington Bulldogs are continuing to build their brand in MLW, and of course, it sets up Alex Kane and Harry Smith for the Opera Cup. I thought it was a pretty good match. Just goes to show how behind we are in the tapings that are being aired, because Myron's been, I mean, his contract expired a month ago, I want to say
5 weeks, about that.
Yeah, so we're still seeing tapings with Myron in it, so it'll be interesting to see what they've already got and then what's in store down the line for us. I'm very interested. But yeah, this was a good match, and again, had that big feel to it. Alex Kane on commentary, like you said, was just gold. Love Alex on commentary. And speaking of like, not to take anything away from Rich, because I really liked Rich as a commentator, but I'm really enjoying that chemistry with Stryker and Joe Dombrowski. Uh, it is a very good chemistry there, and yeah, now you've got somebody playing the heel and somebody's the babyface commentator. So yeah, I'm enjoying that.
Absolutely, it's great. No, I think the chemistry is there. I noticed chemistry week one. You had to get comfortable with it. I understand, but I noticed it right out the gate. I'm just saying, I noticed it right out the gate. I did. I noticed it right. I mentioned it. Go back through the archives. Straight Talk Wrestling. Subscribe. Just saying. Just saying.
I think I just sprained my eye from rolling it.
Did you? You should get that checked out, man. You should go to the same doctor that would check out those sick pythons.
Davey Richards.
Davey Richards. He can do it
I guess
all.
he has a PhD. Does he have a PhD in something?
Got a PhD in pythons.
Well, is he a doctor? Like legit?
I don't know. We'd have to fact check that. But the fact is that Cesar Duran said he was a doctor. I don't know. I don't know.
Looking this shit up.
Okay, so Rob
continue talking.
Yes, well, Rob fact checks Davey Richard if he's a doctor or not or has a PhD. We get another promo from the real one. That's right, he's in a wheelchair after the manslaughter, if you will. And he is coming next week to the Underground, and he is going to serve Mance Warner personally. He's going to sue Court Bauer. He's going to sue MLW. And he's going to pretty much sue everyone in MLW. So anyone associated or in MLW currently right now is going to get a lawsuit from the real one. And I thought it was hilarious. This promo was great, short, sweet, and simple. And for Enzo, that's a lot, but it was about 15 seconds max. And he looked hilarious. I mean, the fact that they had the guy roll him in the wheelchair was absolutely great. And the fact that he's being rolled into the arena in a hospital gurney, that made it even better. Like, not a gurney, my apologies. A hospital gown, if you will. There you go, a hospital gown. Being wheeled in like he just exited the hospital and came right to the arena, I thought was a nice subtle touch. Rob, what do you think?
I'm not a big fan of real one, but I liked this promo. I thought it was pretty funny. He didn't go overly stupid with the trying to be clever with his words. It was funny, and like it made me laugh out loud, which is good because it garnered an actual reaction from me. Better than, it's one thing to just kind of chuckle in your head, but like it actually made me laugh out loud. So the stuff doing with Enzo, the story I'm really behind it. Yeah, I thought this was actually a good promo, and I shouldn't be laughing as I say that, but yeah, I thought it was a good promo. It was funny. I enjoyed it. That's what counts.
And our main event, we know we got Lance and Wani going one-on-one with Hammer for the World Heavyweight title. But next week, we know we have the Samoan SWAT team going at Hustle and Power for the tag straps. And Hustle and Power, they cut a promo. And their promo was very one-sided, if you will. They did not look like they had their heads in the game. A lot of I, me, coming out of EJ and Duca. And Tankman was trying to tell him, it's not about you. It's about we. It's about this unit. It's about this team. We family. We brothers. And while he seemed to have EJ convinced, as we know, EJ's contract has also expired, this is kind of setting the scale for the fact that EJ's pretty much over this last little bit in MLW anyways, has gone into business for himself and has forgotten about his tag team partner and his family, according to Calvin Tankman, which was not good. But this is definitely setting the table for the separation of Hustle and Power. It's going to happen. They're not on the same page. They're not a cohesive unit. And again, we already know that they did lose to the Samoan SWAT team. We just don't know how it happened, but we do know it did happen. But Rob, I mean, how do you think that Hustle and Power did setting up that promo and basically showing that they are obviously going different ways?
I mean, I guess it's harder for me to be objective because we already know some of what has transpired. But trying to look at it as not knowing that, I thought, yeah, they planted the seed there. I mean, the way Calvin was doing real well with his facial expressions as EJ was talking, just kind of like giving him that side eye, like you. What about us? What about Hustle and Power? I thought it was they're setting the stage for what's likely going to be some sort of implosion between the two of them. I mean, EJ's contract's up, but they're pretty behind in filming. Like they could still be a EJ Tankman program in the can that we don't know about. You know what I mean? They could feud for a month on Fusion or Underground, excuse me. We don't know. So Interesting. I'm interested.
I like that. I like that. I actually didn't think of that. And usually I do think of those things. Good for you, Uncle Bobby.
Oh, thank you.
You come
Once in a while, I'm on the ball.
once in a while. Don't get used to it. Don't get comfortable. But once in a while,
Oh, fuck you.
100%. Oh, by the way, did you fact check? Is Davey Richards a doctor? Does he have a PhD?
Davey Richards is a trained paramedic. So kind of, but not quite.
So he can
Not
check
a
out
medical doctor, but yeah.
Yeah, but he can perform some minor procedures and get you to the hospital. Yeah.
Definitely save your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although with those sick pythons, John Morrison's life may be hanging in the balance right now. It could be. It's going to be a thing for a while, Rob. Get used to it. It's going to be a thing. We get a Hammer vignette kind of talking about, everything that's kind of been laid out, everything that stood back and forth in them. It was a really great. They usually do these little segments. We've talked about them often, especially the tail end of Fusion and now going into Underground. These little diary segments that they do are fantastic. It gives us that chance to see the wrestler from a different side. It gives us that more human side of our heroes and our villains. And I really liked what they did with this one with Hammer, especially even Hammer saying himself, I didn't get a chance to open up last time. So now I'm being way more open about who I am and what I'm here to do and achieve. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was what kind of crossed my mind as I watched it was like it's still Alexander Hammerstone, but it's like less Hammer the wrestler, more Hammer the man.
Mm-hmm.
Like more Alex Hammerstone the human being. So he's still himself, his character, but I felt like that was more just like him as a man and what he's feeling, as opposed to what Alex Hammerstone the character would be feeling, which I liked. Like you said, it's a little bit of a departure from a typical wrestling promo. It wasn't. I don't even know if you'd call it a promo. It was more of like a.
That's why I said vignette diary.
Yeah, like
a chance to see Hammer without all the flash of pizzazz.
And we've seen it with EJ. We've seen it with Jacob Fatu. They've done these type of things. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one because I just felt like it was super genuine. Like everything he was saying was not something that my character says. It's just like that's all the stuff he was genuinely feeling, and it came off that way. So I really thought this was a cool, different side to things.
And right after we get this genuine, endearing human, exploitation, if you will, human experience, we get a Mance Warner promo. And Mance Warner promos go from no matter what part of the segment you are in, what part of the episode you are in, Mance Warner promos take you to another place. And Mance Warner's unhappy. He's unhappy because his little buddy, Microman, was assaulted, by the Calling Card Trio. AO, OA, whatever. We're going to call them the Calling Cards. They came out first time in an MLW ring, and they attacked everyone. They attacked St. Laurent, they attacked Microman, and they attacked the middleweight champion, Lince Dorado. And you know what? Manser was pissed. And he said, you know what? I've had enough. You're going to attack my little buddy? Which was weird, too, because the way the promo started, he talked about how wrestling is a place where you can do anything you want to do to a man, and that's what makes it fun. So if you want to attack a man in the back, isn't that what wrestling's about? He kind of contradicted himself a little bit there, but I get what he was saying. Regardless, he's called out the calling card. Any one of them or all three of them. He was just upset. He was pissed. But it was pissed in a hilarious way. And the whole point is every time he was talking, getting all serious, Microman was behind him waving his finger, going like this every time man said, which I thought was great. Rob, what's your takeaway from, as usual, another solid Mance Warner promo, other than the contradiction that I did mention, which was, I don't know if it was done in accident or if it was done on purpose, but there was a contradiction there. You can't talk about how wrestling is great for all these things you could do, light a man on fire, but then attacking a man from behind is the same thing you could do if you were going to light a man on fire. Same thing. Same ballpark.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like you can do anything you want to a man. So, which is true, and like it was done, like Enzo did whatever he wanted, or the calling card guys did whatever they wanted. So now Mance is going to do whatever he wants and call them out, and do what he wants to them. Okay. So I get what you're saying with the contradiction. I kind of see both sides there, but it was like it was a typical Mance promo. It was solid, and they did bring up the Second Gear Crew, SGC, who we saw last week. Matt Justice and one called Manders. So expecting them to be making some appearances soon, which would be cool.
Well, Manser can't go 3-on-1 forever, right? You got to call your buddies in every once in a while. So, yeah, there's going to be some trios action in the future. And speaking of the calling card, guys, the buildup has been well over 6 to 8 months, somewhere in that range. These little attacks, these calling cards, then the vignette started, the video started, the message to Hammer with the octopus, and it all culminated in the big reveal. And the reveal is this dramatic effect. Trust in Raven. That's right. Raven is the head of the calling cards, and his soldiers, if you will, are Ricky Shane Page and Akira, 2 new official signees to MLW. We're very excited are there. We saw Ricky in Battle Riot. He had some great stuff. Akira, I don't believe we had yet to see in an MLW ring, but we know he's been assigned. And that's your 3 calling card guys. And I'm not going to lie, I popped. The buildup was great. The reveal was great. The cinematic promo that they did was absolutely incredible. Everybody looked solid. Everybody looked dangerous. Everybody looked great. And I think bringing in Raven to kind of manage or mold these 2 young hardcore guys in the MLW world, I think, in my opinion, I love it. I popped. They got the pop out of me as an old school. Yeah, Rob, I know it's shocking because
did you just call Ricky young?
Well, compared to Raven, yeah.
He's a year younger than us.
Okay, still young, dude.
All right. It's almost 40.
Whatever. But the fact is, that's what you took away. I thought you were getting upset about the fact that I liked.
I was like, you just called Ricky's probably going to be like, oh, bless this kid. He just called me young.
Well, Ricky may watch these things, but I know he definitely know he doesn't do them.
Ricky doesn't watch.
Exactly. So Ricky's not going to care. The fact is, you're going to mold these 2 younger, there you go, younger superstars into, I guess, your vision of what the world should be. I loved it. Raven can still go through his voice. Raven can still go through his character. He can't really do much in the ring, but I loved it. They got the pop out of me that I don't know if they were looking for, but they got the pop out of me. I freaked. I was like, oh my God, it's Raven. And you know what? When everybody was saying, trust in Raven, I was like, put that shit on a shirt. I'll buy it. Trust in Raven. Fuck yeah. I love it.
Pretty sure that's been on a shirt before, no?
Put on a shirt for MLW shop and I'll buy it. I don't believe it's been what he used to say was quote the Raven, not trust in Raven. So this is new. This has not been on a shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I feel better about myself because I was going nuts trying to figure out who these calling card people could be, and I'm like, why can't I figure out what wrestler is like there? And I guess it makes sense because we kind of saw Akira announced like a couple months ago as a signing, and then announced again like a couple weeks ago. Because I remember we got the press release a while back, and I was like, "Oh, cool, Akira signed. This is awesome." And then saw it again in my email, and I was like, oh, "That's weird." So now it kind of makes sense why we hadn't seen him used. He was signed, and I was just like, "Oh, they're behind on tapings or whatever." It all makes sense now. I think it's cool. Like Ricky and Akira are 2 guys who are familiar with each other. Ricky doesn't do death matches anymore. He's done his share and he like retired from them a year or 2 ago. But Ricky's a great wrestler. Like that's the thing. He's not just a deathmatch guy. Ricky gets wrestling and psychology and all that stuff. And Akira does that hybrid. Like he can deathmatch, but he can wrestle as well. Not to say deathmatch isn't wrestling. Please don't freak on me, guys. But yeah, it's an interesting combo between those 2 guys. And again, like bringing in guys like the Second Gear crew, Manders, Justice, all these guys know each other. All these guys have worked together. Like they're all familiar with each other's styles. So it's like there'll be a lot of chemistry when all these guys are working together at some point, which they will be clearly. I think that's kind of the foundation's been laid. You got Mans challenging these guys, and he's got nobody at his back besides Microman, who full power to Microman. He's one of the wonders of the world, but not necessarily the first guy I'd take into a fight against Ricky Shane Page, who is, if you've never seen Ricky Shane Page in person, you've only seen him on a screen. It's very easy to not realize how fucking huge this man is. Like Ricky's a big dude. He's tall as shit. So I would be stressed if I had to, knowing I had to go up against Ricky, Akira, and possibly Raven. I mean, I don't know if Raven's gonna get in the ring. tried to book him a few years ago, and he didn't want to do much. So I'll be interested to see what's going to happen here. This could be cool. They definitely got a pop out of me. It was unexpected. I'm like almost kicking myself, like I couldn't put two and two together that it was Ricky and Akira. But definitely didn't expect Raven. They kept that one completely under wraps. There was no. I'd have to go back and watch some of the older episodes. Was there like Ravens in any of those AO?
Not that I
Like, was there any sort of foreshadowing that it was Raven?
There wasn't much Easter eggs or foreshadowing that I could remember. But again, you're right. We'd have to go back and watch them with fresh eyes now, knowing who they are.
Because you do that sometimes with stuff, and you go, "Oh, they planted all these little seeds. I just didn't catch it at the time." But hey, I'm on board with it. Like I said, this is two fresh faces in MLW, two guys who have been really. Ricky's made an incredible reputation for himself on the indie scene. He's been doing this 22 years. Akira has not been doing it as long, but he's built a huge reputation for himself over the last 3 or so years. So it's great to see this younger, fresh blood coming in. And of course, if that's leading to Justice and Manders coming on board as well, bring it on, baby. I'm down with all of this.
Absolutely. So when it's all said and done, not only can we trust in Court Bauer, but we can also trust in Raven. Yeah, it's going to be a thing for a very long time. It's going to be a thing. For fuck's sake. It absolutely is. All right, and now we get our main event of the evening. That's right. Hammer put his trap on the line against the youngest member of the Samoan SWAT team, Lance Anoa'i. And you know what? Tit for tat, right? If Hammer can go on commentary during Jacob's match, why can't Jacob go on commentary during Hammer's match?
I mean, fair is fair.
Fair is fair, absolutely. So Samoan SWAT team came out. You had Juicy in Lance's corner. You had Jacob on commentary. You had Hammer doing his thing. Ding, ding, the bell rings. We got a couple shots. We got a couple small combos and exchanges. Then Lance was clotheslined to the outside from the top rope. Jacob stood up saying, "Are you okay?" Juicy was kind of watching if Lance is okay. And while Hammer was looking down at Lance, his eyes shifted to Jacob, rolled out to the ring. And Fatu, last thing we heard Jacob say on commentary before this turned into an all-out war that we saw at the beginning of the episode was, "You could get this all day." Hammer tried to throw a punch. Jacob blocked it, and boom, we had a brawl. But you know what? We also had a couple tag teams in the audience. Well, just one. We had Hustle and Power in the audience. They were watching this match, and they took an opportunity to jump the guardrail. Well, actually, EJ first to attack Juicy. Then Calvin, just to show, I guess, a united front, jumped over to help. And it was inadvertently a 3-on-3 brawl. The whole back room came out. Everybody was taking apart everybody. Long story short, this pretty much ended the episode where we're off the air, but we had Hustle and Power get escorted to the back. We had Hammer get escorted to the back. We had kind of Fatu and Lance and Juicy kind of off to the side. And it was just pandemonium. As JR would say, it was absolute pandemonium. And it was crazy. But an inadverted united front from Calvin and EJ jumping the guardrail as they were watching this match to get a cheap shot on the Samoan SWAT team. And whenever that match does happen, we know that Calvin's going to have some words for EJ, because obviously Calvin waited a long time before he jumped the guardrail. He waited a long time before he jumped the guardrail.
A bit.
Yeah, it was about a minute and a half that he waited, and then he jumped. It was like, this is not who I am. This is not what I'm about. But now my tag partner's out there. I guess I got to jump to show united front. I think the only reason he jumped it, or the way they made it look, was that to show that united front that we know is crumbling. The foundation is broken there, huge.
Right.
And these guys are not on the same page. And this was just the final stamp of, this is not going to last forever. So all in all, kick-ass episode. I enjoyed the hell out of it. The big reveal. And you know what I realized? Hey, you know what I learned today? That I can trust in Raven.
Oh, for fuck's
sake. Rob, your thoughts on the 30 seconds of match that we saw? I feel bad for Lance because I thought it was
that's what I was about to say. I felt bad for Lance. Poor guy's like, I get a world title shot. What an opportunity to showcase my skill. And then it just degenerates into a brawl. A Donnybrook.
Yeah. Got the swerve.
Yeah, but overall, the episode was pretty solid. We got that big reveal. Be interesting to see how that factors into the upcoming pay-per-view.
Absolutely. All in all, weekly episode pay-per-view. Big fight feel on a weekly episode. That's what it is.
Big fight feel, yeah.
Big fight feel, absolutely. So What about you? Your thoughts on trusting in Raven? Are you on board?
I'm I don't know if I'm on like I'm down with what's going on. I don't know if I'd say I'm on board. I want to see more first before I start throwing my chips into Ravens pot.
Well, I'm all in. I enjoy it. I will buy a shirt. There's nothing bad I can say about it. They got the childhood pop out of me. We were racking our brains, like you said. You more than me for sure. Trying to figure it out. Rob had like a board in his room, connecting all the strings, and he had the whole thing going crazy. But the fact is, the Raven reveal, I loved it. I loved it. I
And I
I was
mean,
Raven
we're
was not even on my short list of
no,
anyone.
no.
Never, never.
I mean, we're of the age that we pretty much grew up when Raven was coming up. Like I definitely remember watching WWE superstars on a Saturday, WWF actually, and Johnny Polo being a thing. Uh didn't know at the time who that was, but and then later on ECW, WCW, Raven, like I really liked the Raven character because I was kind of into that, that vibe, that little alt rock vibe for a while. So, or grunge, I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. Whatever. I
Yeah, it
sound
was
like an
grunge.
idiot
It's
now.
grunge.
But anyways, we watched Raven come up. We watched his career. It's cool to see him back in some capacity. Like I said, curious to see if he'll get in the ring. Who knows? Drop a DDT on somebody, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he does get in the ring, it's gonna be like an interference, drop a DDT, and that's what you're gonna get. Because we even saw him when he came, he did a guest appearance at Impact. He was actually put in the Impact Hall of Fame there, and he DDT'd Tommy Dreamer. And
Yeah.
it was a rough DDT. Like Tommy did most of the work trying to sell it as best he could, but it was like watching Vince McMahon take a stunner. Raven just I'm not saying Raven is anywhere near the caliber of Vince McMahon in the ring. He's well above that for sure, but Raven has definitely slowed down in his years. And I think this is just great because, like what I meant to say, I said he could still go through his voice. I meant he can go psychologically. Raven has still a lot up here to pass on. And if Akira and Ricky Jane Page even take a little bit of that, this whole calling card thing that they got going on, this will be a fantastic storyline. And if this is the new Contra, I'm all in just for that because we haven't had a dark faction in some time. They tried to do it with Strange Sangra and it didn't work. So I'm interested to see how this goes.
Here's my question though. What's it stand for? The AO.
Well, that we're going to figure out, I guess, as the weeks to come. But all I know is, Rob, you just have to trust in Raven. That's it for this one, guys. Our socials are in the links below. That is the face I'm going to zoom out. When I edit this, I'm going to do a cross-edit zoom to that face. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Trust in Raven.